Hey, Greg, this is the second attempt at going live. Let me know if you hear me okay, because I had no audio before. I had to kill the little live that had scheduled. Let me know if you could hear me okay. Assuming you could see me okay, but let me know if the pitch is clear and if you could hear me, because I had no audio the last time. I'm assuming you should. I think it works. If you guys are in the room, let me know, because I could continue with doing what I'm doing here. Sharpening up a Wakizashi from jkoo swords. This came to me from swordist.com. I did a full review on it. Greg, let me know if there's audio on your end. If you guys are hearing me okay, please let me know. Appreciate it. Other than that, I don't see anybody in the room, but I'm going to kind of probably play to the replay. So what I have here is a workshop, Ken Onion Edition workshop with the blade grind attachment, which is this guy here, where you can kind of just do freehand. This is pretty much my go-to device to sharpen all of my long swords, my katana. Watch City Knives, Greg. You guys are hearing me okay? Let me know if the audio is coming in, because I had to kill my last live, and I wanted to. This is my second live I'm attempting today. This is pretty much my go-to item that I use to sharpen all of my long swords, my katana. Love the shirt too, man. Guns N' Roses, 80s bands. You can't beat them. Gotta love the hat too. Jed Hornbeak, one of the best private American knife designers from out there, man. Got a collaboration going on with Jed Hornbeak pretty soon, so I'm pretty excited about that. Everything sounds good. Excellent. Thanks, guy. Long swords, katana, wakazashi, big knives, buoys. This is my go-to item. I love the freehand option. You don't have to go through a guide. You have a freehand. You have a little control, the tilt as far as when you get to the point. It's just the way to go. This is a perfect solution for me in terms of sharpening up all of my longsword stuff. Stones, yes, stones are great for knives and stuff like that. But when you're dealing with swords and stuff like that, unless you're dealing with whetstones, and that takes a lot of time and patience and stuff. And I don't really go that way. And maybe one day I will when I have a little more patience. But this is definitely the way for me to go. I know there's a new edition of the Ken Onion with the blade grind attachment, which looks awesome. Not much different than this, couple different options, but for the most part, this is one of the first renditions, and it's just working freaking great. Aloha to all. Yes, sounds great. Everybody is whoever's in the room. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm going to keep it going. So what I did so far, you caught me on a sharpening session with this Wakizashi. Now you may ask yourself, why is the blade blue? Okay, the blade is blue. Is not. I didn't paint the blade blue. I don't know if you can see it through the thing. It's actually the blue painter state. Now what I do is normally, basically, I do freehand with this. I don't worry about basically the surface of it, especially if it's a sword that that's a little bit older and it's just something I cut with. I don't worry too much. And if it's just something that doesn't have that much detail on the blade and it's just something I cut with, or it's an older blade, I don't worry about it that much. But when you have a blade like this, now this is a review sample that came to me from jkoo Swords. This sword was a Sanmai construction sword. It was a folded steel blade. Sanmai is a specific type of lamination, so it has a lot of beautiful characteristics on the blade. It's a Unikubi Zakuri, and it's also a really beautiful, cosmetic, polished hamon. So the blade was gorgeous. So I covered up the surface of the blade, and if you notice, only the edge is what is exposed. So when I go through the belts, this part of the blade doesn't scratch up the hamon, doesn't remove the hamon, doesn't remove it, but it'll dull it. And I'm only dealing with the actual edge. So I covered up the entire blade with the blue tape, and I'm only exposing a very thin edge, is which pretty much what I'm sharpening. So that's why I use the blue tape on blades that I want to preserve the hamon, preserve the characteristics of the blade, the artistic elements of the blade. I want to preserve it and not have the belt dull it up, scratch it up, or anything like that. That's why it's all covered up with the with the blue tape, guys. So that's that. So I actually did 2 belts on this already. Now, what I'm doing with this, I did a review on this already. The sword did great. The sword cut great. The sword handled a lot of tough materials. The build is great. Nothing is loose. It's just, it did a fantastic job. I was very impressed with the sword, the look of it, the feel of it, how it handles. It was great. The only thing that if I were to change anything on this blade whatsoever, is I would give it a little bit more of a keener, sharper edge, because that's just the way I like it. And compared to the other Waki that jkoo sent me, that was a little bit sharp out of the box. Again, Sanmai construction. I'm not sure the steels they use, but it's different types of steels, hard and soft steels combined together. I believe so, some T10 in there, but it was sharp, but I felt like it could have been a little bit sharper compared to the other renditions I got from jkoo. Don't ask me. I don't know what you wrote, bro, but welcome into the room. So what I did was, since I already did a review on this sword or this Waki already, I wanted to go nuts, and I like to basically play with it and go with a really sharp, keen, crazy ass edge, because I did my review on it already. I'm not going to be cutting through harder materials. So I wanted to go with like a 15 angle bevel as far as the sharpness level here. And that is insane sharp. Now, what I mean by 15, the angle of the grind, I don't know if you could see it. You see how it's notched over. Actually, it's at 16. It's like between close to 15, but at around 16 is the angle of the belt. So what happens is you have an angle of 16, which is like this, but it's a convex, so it's kind of something like this, but it's really, really, really fine. Okay, so 15 and it goes out to 90. Okay, like 90 degrees all the way down to 15. And also add that bridge, which is the convex edge. Okay, that is crazy sharp for real. So I'm going with a 15 on this. I reprofiled it. So what I did was I started with an X65 belt. This is the X65 belt. The X65 belt has a grit. Let me just be exact here. At 220, it's got a 220 grit on this X65 belt. Okay, 220 grit. So that's pretty abrasive to basically take off some steel and reprofile, because that's really where you need to go. Okay. Then you need to go to then we went with this belt that's on here right now, which I actually have to change it up. This is a medium belt. It's 6 passes there. Obviously, you have to wait for it to get the, you have to wait to, I'm losing my vocabulary today. You have to wait to get the lift on each side, basically, and you have to go to each side. So I did 6 sides on each 6 passes on each side, and then you have to also go with the medium belt, and the medium belt brings it up to, where is it? Medium. Medium is X22. This is a 1000 grit. So the medium is a 1000 grit. So I went there. Now I'm going to go to all the fine belts. The fine belts is pretty much going to take away all of the metal shavings, things like that, and really just completely close up the edge and bring everything completely together. Okay. So now we're going to go with a fine belt, which is going to be 2800. Where's my fine? Fine belt is around 3000. Yeah, the X4. The fine belt is about 3000 grit, and that's what we're going to go with next. And then we're going to go with the extra fine, and that's going to bring it into about 6000. So the point of what we're doing here is just to really reprofile this and to give it an insanely sharp edge, especially because I did my review on it already, protecting it with the blue tape. Make sure I don't mess up the hamon or anything like that with the belts. And that's the whole purpose of putting the blue tape on there. All right, I'm going to get this on here. Again, we're keeping this all at the 15 angle bevel. Welcome everybody into the room, by the way. I'm just reading some stuff here that I need to see. So anybody has any questions about the workshop, let me know. 6,000 grit is the extra fine. What I'm doing right now is a 3,000, then I'm going to go with a 6,000 belt at the end. Okay? Because what I did was you wait for the burr to show up. That's the word I was thinking of. The burr shows up. Once you have the burr, then you go to the other side. So I did the 220, 1,000, wait for the burr to come up, then go to the other side and chop off the burr. So now whatever burr is left on here, we're going to get rid of and refine it with when we start going to the fine belts. So right now we're going with a 3,000, which is on here right now. Then we're going to go to 6,000. So I'm going to probably start this up, see how it works, and I'll try to check the chat along the way. Let me get this a little bit closer. Ultimately, guys, what I want to do is also cut with this thing, and I want to test the edge sharpness of it after I bring it to the 15 and really see how crazy sharp that is. It's been a long time since I went to 15 on one of these swords. My last edge, usually I do like 17, so going like 16 is pretty damn keen. All right, any questions, guys? Sorry to put it up. I'll glance over it every once in a while. I got to just keep count as far as bringing this in for sharpening. Let me see if I can get you a better angle here. You can see kind of what I'm doing here. All right, so this is a 3,000 belt, first pass. I'm also going with a speedier pass because I put the belt a little faster. And I could see, I wish you can see this, but you can see how the burr is getting knocked off with the finer belts. It's amazing. Like you can see the burr is like flying off the belt. It's pretty nuts. That's one. It's pretty crazy when you go with the finer belts, how the burr just completely flies off. It looks like metal thread that's kind of flying off the edge. It's pretty funny. That's because I reprofiled this to a really keen edge. I don't think this was anywhere near 16. It's probably like an 18 or 17 from the factory. In fact, sometimes I really would love to know. I wish they would let us know exactly how keen of an angle they sharpen these swords up to when they send it out of the factory. This is 3, I believe. This is 4. I'm on 4 passes right now, guys. I am going with fine belts, tail end of sharpening with the workshop 10 onions. With the blade grind attachment, this Wakizashi. This is 5. This is a Sanmai Wakizashi. I did a review on it already, and I wanted to really, since I did the review and I was done testing it, I wanted to go with a keen edge. I'm going with 5, I think, now. This is not an abrasive belt, so what I'm not doing, I'm not taking a lot of metal off. I'm going to 6, probably do 7 passes. This is 6 passes. Not taking a lot of metal off. It's just basically shaving off the burr and really just bringing the edge, closing it up, closing up the edge into that really ultra fine keen edge that you would expect to have on a Japanese style sword, you know. All right, so we're leaning over 7, and that's the last one. No, I'm not really putting that much pressure on it, bro. It's not really slipping. It's really not. That's 7. I'm really kind of just pushing it down, but I'm not putting that much pressure on it. It's probably the angle that you're in. All right, so that's around 7. not going to get much burr because it's a fine belt. So you definitely have a little bit of a lift. So now I'm going to go 7 on this side here. Let me check the chat. All right, whoever else is in the room that I don't see yet, welcome into the room. We're going with 7 passes on each side. This is a 3,000 grit belt right now. And I'm going to go with a 6,000 right after. All right, so that's 1. This is 2. You got to do everything even on each side. You got to try to keep the even number of passes on each side. And when you go with the low, with the high grit belts, the abrasive belts, you got to make sure that you get a burr, like a lift, on the side that you're going on before you switch to the other side. Because then it's got to. That's how you sharpen it. You got to raise a burr. This is 3, I believe. I hope it's 3. Four. Sorry, guys, I got to pay attention to the belt. 5, almost a 7. This is 6. And finally going to 7. Thanks, JD, for coming in, buddy. Appreciate it. This is 7. Ultimately, guys, I'm going to try to cut with this thing on the live. I'll just set up a bottle, maybe just show you how sharp the 15 is when hitting a bottle. And if it's going to go the way I want it to go, I could probably get like a static cut. I think that was 7. I know you have, I'm on a live right now. I know you have 4K. Do you have 4K or 8K? What's that mean? The cameras. What cameras? The video cameras? I could do 4K. I'm literally on a live right now. That's why I'm not trying to talk to you. I do 8K. What they? No, 8K is out of my range. I do 4K. Why? Who needs 4K? No. I could do 4K, but not 8K. But 4K is a lot of bandwidth. It's not easy to do 4K. I won't recommend it. So guys, I had 7 on each side, and from touch, guys, you know how you could do a field test for the touch? You have to be very careful how you touch this edge, because you can easily cut yourself. Even going from, not this way, you'll cut yourself for sure, but even going from up and down, it's pretty damn sharp. It's definitely getting there, and a little bit more burr has to come off, because I'm going to go to the 6,000 belt now, but this is insanely freaking sharp. 15 angle on this thing is crazy. I mean, you find 15 angles on some pocket knives. Some people like to go to 15 angles, but on swords, it's pretty freaking lethal, man. All right, so now this is very smooth. This is like porcelain smooth, okay? Almost feels like rubber, like it's not going to do anything. But this is a 6,000 grit belt. This is a super fine belt. This is their finest belt on the workshop. This is how I finish up all my all my swords, all my blades, especially if I want to just get that. If I don't want a toothy edge, I won't go with this. If I leave it at this, it's a toothy edge, but I want to go with a fine edge on my sword. So that's why I go with the 6,000 grit. And that will also, it won't be as toothy, but it will also refine it, make it very a smooth, sharp edge without the toothiness of it. The toothiness is more with the knives, but with the swords, I like a very fine, sharp edge. So what happens is you're taking off also any grit on each side that might be hanging or swaying, and it's going to really make it porcelain smooth. That is the whole point. I wasn't using 7K before. As far as what, 7,000 grit? No, I was using 3,000. My last belt was a 3,000, and this is 6,000. So it was 220, 1,000, 3,000, 6,000. So it's 4 belts in total. You could go with a 5th belt, but it wasn't damaged. I don't need to go down to like, 120 grit. That's very, very, very aggressive, very abrasive. And now you'll take off a lot of metal there. You only use that belt when you have like a damaged edge, or if there's chips or rolls and you really need to repair a damaged edge. This was not a damaged edge. This edge was fine. There were no issues with it. I just wanted to reprofile it. So that's why I went with a 220, 1,000, 3,000, 6,000. So that's what I'm going with now. Hope that cleared it up. I'm trying to think as I speak, so, multitasking right now. All right, so I got it. Now what we got to do is we got to balance out the belt to make sure it's kind of right in the middle, because each belt has a different way of balancing it out. You got to turn a knob here to balance it out so the belt stays right in the center. I wish I could get you guys a better angle. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here. So now what I'm going to do here, again, guys, if you guys came in late, I put the blue tape on it so the belt does not mess up, does not scratch or dull. All the beautiful characteristics of this folded steel Sanmai folded steel blade with that beautiful cosmetic polish. I do that only on blades that really want to preserve the finish. So I only have the edge exposed on each side. Okay, there's blue tape on each side. All right. I have the belt on a little quicker because I want to go quicker so I don't have to spend too much time. So depends how you want to do it. If you have the belt quicker, you could go quicker passes. If you have a slower, you have to do slower passes. But I want to get it done quicker because it's on a live. Depends what you have time for. So now we're going to go with the first pass. I'm going to try to do the same thing, 7 passes on this super fine. And I could even see by eye how it's completely taken off any little metal strands. It looks like metal string is the burr. It's kind of just popping off. It was doing even more on the other belt, but I can see how it's just popping it off here and there. Yeah, it's really just bringing it to like porcelain smooth. Actually, I want to balance this out a little bit better. Bring this closer. There we go. I think I'm actually going to need a new one pretty soon because the spring on this is not pulling the belt as much as it did when it was brand new. So I may have to upgrade this unit or maybe get a new spring attachment because it's not pulling the belt as tight as it was when it was brand new. Well, this is probably about 4 years old now. And the spring here that pushes the belt, that's too, it's going to wear and tear, in time, This is 3. This is going to be crazy sharp. at a 15 angle reprofile, this thing is going to be nuts. So 4. It's funny because when you do this enough, you can feel, this is 4. You can feel the difference in the belts, the difference in how abrasive certain belts are. This is kind of just like running it through glass right now. You don't feel any vibrations at all like you do with, like you can feel like the friction. You can feel like the, what's the word I'm thinking of? Yeah, you can feel the friction of the belt. This you can't. This is very, very light. I think I'm going to 5. All right. 6 on this Wakizashi Sharpening. I'm going to go to 7 on this side. I'm going to try to go to the other side, and then I'll be done. Take the blue tape off, wipe it down a little bit. Also give you some pointers on the metal polishing. Okay, I'm going to go with 7 now. Thank you guys for coming into the room. I know it's boring just seeing a belt move up and down. All right, so that's 7 passes on this side. So now we got to swap it over on this side, and you can see I have the blue tape protecting it. Doesn't look like anybody has anything to say. You guys are just watching. Thank you for being here again. So now this is the final pass, final set of passes, which is going to be 7 on this side. Hope you guys can hear me over the belt. What you want to do is always try to keep it even. So that's 2 now coming up. You want to keep even passes on each side to make sure you have a complete perfect V in terms of the point, or a convex base V in the case of this system. I think I'm going on 3 next. It's 3. Going up to 7. It's 5. Six. Last pass, 7. Super fine belt, 6,000 grit. Final belt of 4. Started with 220. 6 passes each side. Then I went to 1,000. Also 6 passes on each side. Then I went to started the finer belts. Okay, that was 7. The finer belts at around 7 passes. This is so insanely sharp, it's crazy. Okay. All right. This is the final belt, 6,000. There was a total of 4 belts. Look at that black soot on me. Point of this thing was I wanted to get this thing to a crazy sharp 15 angle, so I had to reprofile it. Okay, put the blue tape on here. No repeating the same thing over and over again, but people come in and out. Put the blue tape on here so I can preserve the aesthetics of the blade. The Hamon, that beautiful folded steel, sand mine construction. This was a gorgeous, cosmetically polished blade. And I put the blue tape to preserve it. And I only expose the edge, the very, very edge. You see blue tape on each side. Okay. So now once I take this off, I didn't, touch the belts, didn't accidentally brush against the Hamon and scratch the shit out of it. Okay. So that's the reason why I do it this way. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the tape off. And I can see it's perfectly fine. All right, sometimes you got to scratch it off, but usually it comes off pretty evenly. Just got to do it really slow so you don't have like the tape sticking onto the edge, and that's a pain in the ass to get off. You got to do it very, very slow. Blue tape is pretty non-destructive. If you're going to do this, I only recommend using blue tape. Only blue tape. Do not use duct tape. You'll fuck up your blade. Do not use clear tape or scotch tape. It's not going to work. Blue tape is the best option. Non-destructive, sticky enough, generally easy to come off. And most importantly, it has enough adhesive to stick on there, but not that much adhesive where it's going to have a gluey residue. But you still want to wipe it down with alcohol, but got to be very careful when you take this off, guys. Especially this thing is so crazy sharp right now. You don't want to accidentally run any part of your skin over this blade right now. It's pretty damn sharp, so I just got to pay attention to it. Can't really look at the chat. Do you have any issue to have a secondary bezel? No, I don't. Especially on the sword that I use, I don't have an issue having a secondary bevel. Especially because if it's a convex edge is probably the best edge you can put on a sword. It's the most robust, most durable edge that you can put on a sword. And I see a lot of sword manufacturers that are automatically now putting convex edges from the factory on their swords. Convex is the way to go. And right now I put a convex edge on here. I can't really show you what a convex edge is. I'm assuming you know. If you don't, look up convex edge. It's a very robust type of point that has like a bridge to a little meat behind it, like almost like jkoo. And there are some scratches on here because I did cutting with it. I did a review on it. But for the most part, the Hamon, everything is perfectly clean. I don't know if you can see it. You see that beautiful Hamon. I don't know if you could see the line, the lamination line, but it's in good shape. It looks great, because the blue tape kind of protects it, So what do we got? Yeah, it's so sharp you can't even do a sharpness test because you feel like you're really instantaneously going to cut your thumb. That's how sharp this shit is. It's pretty freaking nuts. So it's a convex edge there. I have to put some alcohol on here. I got to clean it up. If you guys are patient, I'm going to put some alcohol on here. I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to also show you what I do. I don't know if I want to polish this up. What I'll do is with this live, I'm going to put some alcohol on here. I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to take the residue off. I'm going to cut a bottle or two with it on the live. Maybe I'll do another live where I'll show you how I polish the blade, what I do, how I do it, how I polish up the blade. So it'll be a 2-part live. I'll do another live. If you guys are interested in seeing that, I'll title it like blade polishing, Wakizashi blade polishing live. And I'll do that on another live and I'll polish it up for you, Thank you for coming in, Kevin. What grit did you finish with? All right, so let's go back again. I started with a 220 grit belt. I went with a 1,000 grit belt, 6 passes each side, 220 grit. Then I went 6 passes on each side with a 1,000 grit. Then I went with a 3,000 grit, around 7 passes, and I finished off, with a 6,000. Thank you, Sal. Soul Rosenberg. Soul Rosenberg. What's up, bud? Love the name, Soul Rosenberg. Then I ended up with a like Saul said, a 6,000 grit to end off the belt. So 4 belts. I didn't need to go anything lower, more abrasive because it wasn't damaged. I just wanted to reprofile it to a 15 angle bevel convex. So here's 90. Here's 90. And this is 15. And convex means that you have like a little bit of meat behind the point, but 15 is very, very tight. Not a toothy edge. I wanted to go with a really ultra fine freaking edge. You know, if you guys will hold on for a second, you could take a look at the blade. I will get some alcohol and I will clean the residue up on this edge. So give me 1 sec. All right, guys, I'm back. All right. So what we want to do now is we want to clean off whatever glue from the blue tape that was on there, okay? I get a spray bottle. I put some normal rubbing alcohol on here. That's my best friend. I clean I use a lot of alcohol. Just smother it with alcohol. And just carefully from the spine side, just rub it up and down. Take off whatever glue residue is on here. Now this blade definitely needs to be polished because I did a lot of cutting with this thing on the review. I cut into vines, I cut into wood vines and stuff like that. So it's got a lot of sap on it and shit. So this definitely needs to be polished up for sure. I actually even see some surface sap, rust and stuff. I think, yeah, I got to take care of this blade. I definitely got to take care of this blade. So the next thing I'm going to do is polish this thing up. It's got still pretty a nice freaking luster, but there are spots where I guess the sap that was sitting on here, I didn't take care of this as much as I should have. I did a review and then I really didn't touch it. I knew I had to sharpen it and treat with it, but it still looks pretty damn good. And putting the blue tape on it means that I didn't add any extra scratches or anything on it. Let's see if I can do a sharpness test on here with some paper if I can. Let's see what we got. I would actually scientifically, I would probably try to use a sharpness tester because that's really the way to go, but I don't feel like setting that whole thing up. Let's see if I can point this down. Hopefully you guys can see it from here, maybe from here. Trying to get an angle where you guys can see it. Yeah, you hear it? That was Mick. You just got to drop it and it just cuts right through it. This is magazine paper too. Watch this. Hold on. Hopefully, let me just get an angle here that you can see it. There you go. Check this out. That is hair popping freaking sharp. You could hear and feel it, how sharp it is, how it goes through the paper so evenly. I mean, it's ridiculously sharp. Can't really get the angle here. I don't want to cut my fingers. Suits fine. Yeah, but take my word for it, guys. This is insanely sharp at a 15 bevel. Really, really insane stuff. So, if you guys want to see it, I'm going to cut some bottles with this thing. So, I just got to set up a couple of bottles, set up the camera there. So if you guys are patient, let me know if you guys can wait. I'm going to set up some bottles. We're going to do some quick cuts with this Wakizashi, freshly sharpened. And I'll come back to you and then I'll show you. We're going to do another live where we're going to polish this bad boy up and show you how I blade polish it. and take off any sap or any surface rust spots and things like that. So let's do that. So if you guys can chill for a second, I'm going to shut the camera off and I'm going to set up some bottles. So if anybody else comes to the room, let them know where I am. All right. I'll be right back, guys. Chill, chill, chill. Thank you. Not ending the live, just shutting the camera off. All right, guys. Am I coming in okay? Might have to bring this back because I don't want the splash to hit my gimbal. Turn this around. Hold on. Can you guys see the bottle okay? I'm assuming you can. I set it a little bit back. Yeah, I'll give you a little bit more closer. You saw a koi fish? Yeah, you have to really look. A koi fish will come out of that water really quick. You just got to catch it. All right, I'm just going to do a sharpen test, guys. I'm not doing anything nuts here as far as cutting it, but let me see if I can get you a better angle here. Hold on. Okay, so once again, this is after sharpening, guys, with a 15 angle. It's a one-handed weapon, so we're going to do basically a one-handed cut. Nothing crazy. Just want to see how sharp it is. Top off. I didn't want that to happen. Let's fill this up with water again. But yeah, that's crazy sharp. Let's not waste the bottle. But it just took the head right off there. It's very sharp. It be sharp, boys. It be sharp. Let's try to do a reverse grip on this. Ooh, cut it, but it make you go flying. That's sharp. That stuff be pretty damn sharp. Not bad at all. Want to see another one? Let me see the chat. I haven't really seen it. Looks really good. Yeah, this thing is pretty damn sharp. You don't want to do anything too aggressive on it because it's got a 15 angle. Splash my gimbal a little bit. You want me to fill one up? I'll do another cut. I'll do another cut for you guys. Hold on. This had some water in it. This is a little hard plastic. I don't really want to use this, but I think it should be fine. Excellent. Yeah, it's crazy sharp, man. I just love it after I get a review done where I can really go nuts and have fun with it and really put an insanely sharp edge on it. Because when you're doing testing on these things, you don't want to go with like a 15 or something like that. You want to go with like a 17 or an 18 factory edge because you don't want to, if you cut into like a brace, like harder materials like hard tatami or bamboo or even the vines, which I like to cut into, at a 15, this will probably make it too brittle and probably might chip it up. With bottles, it should be okay. This is a little bit thicker plastic. I'm worried a little bit about it, but I think I'm going to try not keep away from the top, you know? What do you think? I think that's pretty crazy ass freaking sharp. So it's a Unikubi Zakuri, freshly sharpened, 15 angle. This needs a little TLC, needs a little polishing after doing a lot of cutting with it, cutting into sap and the trees and stuff like butter. Yeah, I mean, it's insanely sharp, man. I'm going to try to do some more cutting backhand with this stuff. I feel a lot of pressure cutting when it's live. I really do. I'm more comfortable cutting when it's pre-recorded, but that was cool, man. It was excellent. I mean, it's definitely, I mean, you can see the bottle cuts on the floor. Basically the slices that it did, it just took the head right off everything. It's really, really cool. So, yeah, you get a nice sense of satisfaction when you can, take that water off of that. Nice sense of satisfaction when you can really go nuts and put a nice sharp edge on it. It's a nice hobby to kind of sharpen your stuff and being able to experiment and say, oh, how sharp would this be? Or what could I do with it? In a, how sharp or what could I do with it with a 12 angle or something like that, something insane. I might have to go with like a 13 one day, a bevel to see how sharp it is. But this is to the point where it's hard to touch without feeling like you're going to cut yourself. But yeah, this thing did a good job. Work sharp, Ken Onion. Can't recommend it enough for swords and blades. It's my go-to item. It's what I use. Now, what I want to do on the next live, if you guys can kind of join me up in the room again. I may not do it today. I may do it at some point this week. Maybe I'll announce it. If you guys are not subbed to me, please sub so you can get the alert. I'll put an alert in schedule a live to do a polishing job on this guy to show you how I polish up the blade, how long the polish has to stay on there, how I apply it, what I use, and when methods in doing it, so I can take off whatever surface sap or anything that's on here, surface scratches from the cutting that I did with it prior. And that'll be my next live to finish up basically this Wakizashi Sanmai. If you haven't seen the review on this, please take a look at it. It's a Sanmai Wakizashi, I believe. I don't remember the name, but it says Sanmai. jkoo and this was provided to me from Swordist.com. I actually have another box waiting for me to open from Swordist, and it's a custom Shadow Dancer sword that I'm really excited to work on, and it's going to be a lot of work I'm going to put into that one to show you how I ordered it, what I chose, how it is after I ordered it. If they, it's just a whole big hoopla. But that Shadow Dancer from also the same company, Swordist, that I'm going to be reviewing. It's in a box, still hasn't been opened yet, but sub if you haven't. I'll put an alert in, and I will do a schedule a live to do polishing work on this sword. Thank you guys for joining me. Much appreciated. Thanks for patience in watching the me use the belts and all that. It must have been boring, but I hope you got something out of it. Appreciate you guys being here. Have a good night, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.